Okay, folks. Happy Sunday. Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Let's plug in my phone. My portable computer. That's what I use it for. I don't use it for a phone much. This guy's over here. These are the Brits that go both ways. That go every which way. They're going to be able to they're going to be able to be part of a core force of Australians or actual British for the desert or New Zealanders, so forth. Hey Ben, what happened? All right, so we got this genders guy to finish, and then we've got whatever we're going to call this guy, Harrison. I don't know what it is, but I'm looking at this figure and I'm flabbergasted by how good the detail is on his face. It's probably one of the best faces I've ever seen. I mean, yeah, he's painted well, but I can't paint it if it doesn't exist there. So whoever this Cameron guy is that sculpted this, he's fucking brilliant. And I can't take a photo of it. It just doesn't. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't. It just doesn't look as good as I'm seeing it. Anyways, he's just bloody dandy. And yeah, let's finish him up. And I like the color of his helmet. It turned out really well. So I'm really enjoying this project. And again, part of it is gaming, but part of it is just let's paint these guys. I mean, I've been sitting on this guy since 1981. Actually, to be honest with you, I got this guy. I had no intention of ever painting him because I'm like a kid. Yeah, it's like I'm like 10 years old. I'm like, I can't paint this shit. 81, probably, yeah, something like that. 81, 82 for sure. Back when America was great again. Oh, we didn't know any better. It's been the same shithole forever. We were kids. We didn't know any better. Back when nobody was allergic to peanut butter. I'm not trying to, if you guys have allergies, that's all, fine and dandy. But when we were kids, I didn't even hear about that stuff. I always kid that when in the 1970s and early 80s, like if you were allergic to peanut butter, like you got taken somewhere, and like nobody heard about you. Same thing. If you hated this country, nobody heard about you. You didn't give you any airtime. I hate America. Probably back then they would say like, well, "What are you doing here?" If you hate Britain, what are you doing in Britain? Let's put the little bits that are going to be in. Now, there's one drawback. I have not tested to see how durable these guys are. I'm not going to do that. That's sadistic at this point. So if I start seeing signs that the paint is coming off of these guys, then I'm just going to have to relegate these two. They sit in a shelf. Um, and I hope that doesn't happen. But this painting thing's incredible. If you guys don't, And don't do that. Actually, I've never taken it out of here, so that's one thing not to do. Let's make sure. What the hell did this drip on? Yeah, it's dripped on my Vallejo paints. I got some printouts here of some crooked spider flags for air recognition. Okay, we're good. Just a little bit. Yeah, I'm not a science guy, so I didn't realize I couldn't pull that thing off. You got to pull them both. You can't pull the top from the bottom. The water level's a little too high. Okay. Put that back. We've got some stockings to paint on this guy. Two pairs of stockings and a water bottle, and he's good to go. And then we'll move on to another chap. I can't wait to paint the Lieutenant Waddington, or whatever we're going to call him. The lieutenant is what's useful in this. Maybe even a captain, but anything over that, you got a special scenario where it's somebody's getting hunted down or something. You don't need to have colonels and generals like that on the battlefield unless it's an assassination mission. Saving Colonel Harumph. Probably should have cleaned this thing. Not because you could transfer any colors, but just it becomes hard. Like, okay, which is the live one? Which is the live paint one? And we're going to need this. So today, while I was having breakfast, I'm like, let me become more educated. Because I'm always saying, I'm not interested in the BEF, despite the camouflage on their tanks being really cool looking. Because they just weren't around very long. I'm not faulting them for leaving. I'm just saying that, they weren't there very long. So I'm like, well, how long was it there? How long before the Germans invaded and Dunkirk happened? 2 weeks. So that's like Kursk. Except that you can't use those tanks after Kursk. Because there weren't any. I mean, unless you're going to build training tanks in the UK, you can't just, build those 1st Armored Division A-13s, A-9s, A-10s, Matilda 1s, whatever, and use them for anything else. One of the most important things of his kit is this water bottle, the canteen. What are you working on this morning, Ben? This is going to need a good old trim. Oh, this isn't the one I should be using. This is the one I should be using. Flintlock dwarves. Okay, dwarves in that world are Prussians? Is that right? Did you get all the factions or just just the dwarves? So you gotta have the dwarves speak like Scots with a Prussian twang. They're gonna be really angry. They're really angry dwarves. See, they should have made the French dwarves, because at least they could be led by their, the head dwarf in charge. Now, what was Napoleon? 5'8"? He wasn't that short, was he? I mean, he is by today's standards, but, not like, look at that little guy. Napoleon height. Maybe he looked really small against their Imperial Guard that are big guys. And they've got the overcompensating headgear. Napoleon height. What? He's estimated to have been 5'2" in pre-metric system French measures, which equals about 5'6". This was slightly below the periods. Yeah, he's short. Yep, that's why I said his elite guardsmen were taller than most Frenchmen. That's why he's perceived for. Yep. Napoleon. Yeah, the Germans painted them as Duchy of Brandenburger, yellow shakos, brown tunics, green pants, some red accents thrown in. Brandenburgers. Well, I hear Brandenburgers. I only think of those. Commandos. German commandos. The Crooked Spider Commandos. use the same color because I'm lazy. I'm lazy for this. We need some kind of a handle of this bayonet in a slightly different color, so this will do. I'm not too picky what it is. Just something that stands out a little bit. All right, now we're going to go to English uniform. That's the bottom color. Whoa, see, I almost did it. I almost put it in the wrong one. Many years of having these flipped, I got to be careful. It's not the end of the world. It's not like I'm not licking this thing. Let's take the coffee and put it way the fuck over there. Now that's harder to do. Is Napoleon uniformly reviled in Britain to this day? See, I don't think of him as a bad guy. I mean, I'm not saying he was, great, but he's as bad a guy as Alexander the Great. He's a bad guy because, he wanted to start wars and shit like that, Or he wanted to do stuff that caused wars. I mean, it's French. How bad could it be? Pretty much. Well, you shouldn't use this metric system. The only problem I have with I don't like the metric temperature. And what I like less than the metric temperature is converting between the two. That is a weird formula. That's a formula that involves fractions. I don't like fractions. You ever played any colonial stuff in Britain? Like, the American Revolution wars? How's that viewed over there? Like these folks needed a spanking and they got away with it or something? Or like, well, the British aren't the bad guys. They were a little heavy-handed, but they should have. The Americans should have toughed it out instead of being a bunch of whiny crybabies and decided to succeed in separating. I don't have strong feelings about that. But then, my people weren't in this country yet. You know, I would like some of those taxes that people were complaining about back then. Like I'll go back to the oh, but it's taxation without representation. I said, yeah, but it's not a whole lot of taxation. It's questionable whether some of us are represented anyways now. So I might as well have those low taxes. You're not playing AWI, but the stuff is fairly popular. I think everyone takes it well. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, as a general rule, I don't like rebels. I mean, just in general principle, I don't like, if you're going to ask me to play sides, I gravitate towards the people that are order. Okay? So I would never play, well, I'm not saying I would never play. I play either side. I don't care for pirates against the Spanish. Like I'm always gonna want to play Spanish, you know. Why would I want to play the people that are trying to steal the gold from the people that we stole the gold from? That's like secondhand stealers, like, you know. So stuff like that. Like I'd want to play the British against the Americans. You know, that's just me. You know, I got nothing against the British. Except in 1588. Then they're dickheads run by that red-headed bitch. Man, she was ugly. Man, Elizabeth was ugly. Sorry, had to say it. No, I got nothing against. Actually, yeah, I got nothing against you guys. You know that. We have our. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be playing this stuff. You know, we'd be rolling burritos or something. I don't know. Oh man, if I get to go to Britain, I wonder what I'm gonna. I bet it's not gonna be what I think it is. Nothing ever is. Even Canada. I didn't think Canada was gonna be as good as it was. Sorry about that. There's nothing wrong with apologizing, but why are you apologizing for somebody else's sins? You fuckery. Sorry. Well, we'll get to see how durable these things are. Of course, it all depends how it landed. I don't see a single chip on them. I do all my own stunts. Well, let's go ahead and add the magnet to it. That's going to make the stand a little bit thicker. Good morning. You know, after I dropped the figure. Good morning, Marcus. There was always fumbles. And I got no excuse. I didn't have my glasses on. When I put my glasses on, I do stupid mole man shit. And it pisses me off. Like, you know, I go and refill the water on the reservoir for the coffee, and I forget to take the clear lid off. I'm half a fucking asleep. So I go and put the water underneath it, and it's hitting the lid and splashing out. I'm like, great, now I got something to clean up. You know, luckily it's just water. It's not that much. It's like 3 ounces, but it's just the principle of it. Of just being stupid, just doing stupid stuff. I don't really need these magnets because I'm not going to travel with these figures. But it is nice when you put them on a metal tray and you move them from point A to point B. You don't have to worry about a whole, you know, being off like 3 degrees and then sliding off one way. So, okay. As we were, British uniform. It's funny when I think of the Western Desert. There's several things that come to mind, and one of them is that old photograph I saw where these guys were frying an egg on a tank. You know, they just. This is really throwing me off that being over there, even though old habits. This thing's, well, I was getting ready to say before I pulled this thing out, get one of these. These things are great. The brush washer. Or at least I like them. I like that it's right here so I can check the water clarity. We'll see if it ends up making a difference. I wonder how often these guys change their socks. Maybe it's better not to know. You know, the sad part is, if these guys lived 80 years later, you could make a lot more money just selling them. Oh, man. Yeah, they probably got one pair a month or something. It's probably something horrible. Like it'd take you 10 years to recover from the damage that a battle environment would do to your body. You'd have all kinds of sores and stuff. You guys have any issues with playing with folks that either smell bad or don't change their clothes or have extreme bad breath or something like that? I fortunately have not encountered that, and the people that um, in my immediate playing group. There was a guy. He wasn't really in my immediate playing group, but many years ago, we're gonna throw 1989, 1990 out there, something like that, maybe 88. And we had this game we were playing to go to different people's houses and compete in it. And they said they went to this one guy's house, and he had all kind. I didn't see it firsthand, but he had all kinds of trash in there that hadn't been taken out for years. Like he had half-eaten pizza in boxes from a pizza joint that had closed like 4 years before and stuff like that. Just all kinds of stuff. Mitch was telling me there was some guy that up there in Illinois where they have basements and stuff like that. It's one guy, they called him in to do like a rescue operation because he couldn't get out of his house or something like that. He was just like lived in just like filth and stuff. I'm not talking about dust. I mean, like we all have dust in the house, and I don't know where the hell dust comes from, but it's around. That doesn't like freak me out. That's just like happens, you know. But just like filth and stuff, you know. No issues, but I only have a few close friends that I game with. Haven't tried a gaming club. Yeah. Yeah, some people just like, you know, you should be showering every day, you know. If you're wearing socks, don't rewear the socks, man. You know, switch out of them every day, you know. Put freaking foot powder if you like. I don't necessarily have, well, everybody would have sticky feet, but, you know, I don't go to work. Like, that's the only place where my feet are enclosed for like 10 hours. Like, you got to put stuff on your feet, you know. Be human, for God's sakes, you know. And these real dirty people, man, they'll still find somebody to be with. Like, who wants to be with somebody that filthy? Somebody equally filthy. Dust is shed skin mostly, is it? So if you put on a jumpsuit when you get in your house, you know, like those guys. What's that game that those kids play? I don't know if it's any Among Us, right? You're wearing a big jumpsuit, you know, and pick your color: red, green, yellow, and never take that off inside your house. There won't be any dust, or there'll be a significantly less dust. I don't know. I haven't noticed shedding any skin. I've got that psoriasis stuff, but that medicine that I'm on, that injection, man, it's like gone. Like I've never had it. It's like, you know, I wonder what side effects it's gonna have. But it's a freaking miracle drug. But yeah, before that, yeah, I'd have, you know, skin and stuff. I mean, I didn't have it really bad. You look up any disease or any ailment you have. Don't look it up on the internet, because what you see is you go from basically somebody with like a paper cut. Well, you would have a paper cut and you would end up seeing the Elephant Man on the internet. You see like the worst example of anything on the internet that is just like, how does this person stand to be alive? There's extreme examples of every horrible thing on the internet. Like that one guy, they had some guy in Indonesia or Burma or somewhere in Southeast Asia, it might have been India, Bangladesh, one of those. And the guy had some disease where he was growing bark. I mean, the guy was like literally turning into a fucking tree. And I'm not trying to poke fun of him. I mean, it's absolutely horrific. But it's like, you know, I don't know what it is. It's some rare disease or something, but just some really horrible stuff on there. So yeah, you think you got it bad, don't look up whatever you have on the internet, or you're going to be like, yep, I'm not complaining about this because this is ridiculous. What's out there? Yeah, I'm shedding like not at all compared to before. Again, I want to drink this. Oh, don't pull that up, dumbass. There we go. Actually, I can put it down. I just can't put it down fast. Okay. Yeah, because I mean the water level is like an inch below the top of this, so I didn't understand why it came out. Again, I'm not a physics guy. All right, two things left. We got the bottom gaiters type things and the shoesies, and this lad is done. Off to fight the Jerry. Off to fight the Jerry in the eye tie. Is that a derogatory term, calling people eye ties? Hey, that's what they called them in the war. Okay, Jeffrey, since you are the expert because you did a kit. What did you call it? The thing I never do. Kickstarter. I don't think I've ever done a Kickstarter. That just doesn't. I just have a problem ordering something. As soon as I pay for something, I'm like, where is it? Where is it? Where's it? Where's it at? Where's you got my money? Where's my thing at? Where's it going? So a Kickstarter would be an extreme version of that. All right, how much funding do you have? Okay, you got the funding. When are you going to start? Okay, it would drive me crazy. But since you did a Kickstarter on the 25 pounder, is I thought the crew was bare chested. Is that incorrect? Or I'm thinking of something else. Maybe I'm getting it confused with the Tamiya 25 pounder. That's bare chested dudes. Yeah, I want some bare chested dudes in my army. I think it's cool. You know? Then I could go work out and see what I need to look like. I like painting flesh. Uh oh. You know what I mean? Faces, the arms, the muscles. It's cool because it makes it look like a human. Like, oh, it's a person. Remember all those figures that they used to have? They probably still make them or whatever. Um, those naughty figures that they used to have. I don't think they were really naughty. They were just bare chested and in non ladylike poses. And they never show pictures of them. They give you like they had like artwork in them. It'd be like line drawings of what these looked like. And I don't remember what they were in. They were probably in catalogs or whatever. And they were called Phoenix Follies. I don't know what scale they were in. They were probably relatively big. I never saw one in the flesh. No pun intended. But naughty figures. Um, they made a set I came across and looking for different stuff on the internet. I don't even look for 1/35th scale stuff anymore. I mean, I haven't looked at it before the internet. I haven't done 1/35th scale stuff since about 1991, 92. And they had some set where it was, I want to say it was German paratroopers, that they come across these two girls that are bathing in in some pool of fresh water, you know, and they don't have many clothes on, and I'm like, what's the purpose of that set, Batalieri set Old Ashy has some shirtless crew. BO is a problem, along with large backpacks at game shows here. But I don't understand why BO is an issue. So, you should shower every day, put on deodorant that works. They come in all kinds of different flavor, right? And your body changes. Like, I always used a deodorant, one particular one, because I don't really wear cologne. I have it, but I just forget to put it on. So I use kind of my my deodorant as cologne. You could smell it, okay. And I look for one that smells good. There's lots that I don't like how they smell, but there's lots that do. So I used one for a long time, and usually I don't switch until they discontinue the one. I'm like, great, they discontinued whatever. So now I got to switch. And then I find one like, which is the one I was using for a long time, the Axe Apollo. I like the smell of it. And then they discontinued, they can't make it anymore, or they changed the smell of it or whatever. And then as you get older, you're like, oh man, this one's now irritating my skin. I got to go to a different one. Like, it's like burning me. Or as what happened like 3 years ago, I'm like, this isn't working like as well as it used to. So I had to switch. But there's always one to switch to. So I don't understand, but you got to take a shower at least once a day. I work outside-ish. So, when I come home from work, I don't bring my shoes in the house or anything. All that stuff stays in the garage, and it's not that dirty, but it is an outside environment. You got to shower every day. And you need to put on deodorant every day, like, and don't rewear things that smell. Like, why are you wearing socks and stuff like that? Like, you know, Rose Miniatures used to do 54 millimeter larger risque miniatures. Was always intrigued by the adverts in military modeling and battle in the 1970s. Of course, because you're a kid. Now kids aren't intrigued. They can go on the internet and find anything for free. They could find out more about it than their parents. I don't even want to know what my daughter knows. I'm not saying that she goes to those sites, but she's definitely more knowledgeable of that stuff than I was at her age. Like, I don't know anything. I certainly would never ask my parents about anything like that. I'd be like mortified, you know. Absolutely mortified. I couldn't even speak to them in English. It's weird enough. That's weird enough speaking to them in English. But I had older parents. I had parents that were, my parents are probably your age. Not your age. My parents are the same age as your parents' age. You're like 10 years older than I am, and I was, my parents are like, I should have been born 10 years earlier. You know, that's what I'm getting at. So yeah, you know, that's pretty awkward. Phoenix Follies, that's what they were called. Yeah, my parents weren't very free, whatever you call it, but they were about alcohol. Like they think this whole you can't drink till you're 21, that didn't fly at my house. It just never was a big deal, and I didn't ask for it either. It wasn't like I'm 18, can I have a beer? Just not that big of a deal. I'm European in that way. You guys are cool with that, you know. My daughter's really looking forward to spending some time in Europe because it's like, she's like freaking 19 years old. Like, why can't she have, a beverage or, share a beverage in a family, It's not a big deal. These Puritan, I know why you guys kicked these guys out, These buckle shoe wearing bastards, they were no fun at parties. Thank God you haven't been asked that yet. Yeah. Spare a prayer for the parents as I've been asked what, oh boy, yeah. Yeah, I would, the problem is as a kid, I would probably get an inkling that this is probably something that I shouldn't want to know, and therefore the last person I would ask about it would be my parents, you know? And then and then let's say you are a person who's well versed in these things. You go to Urban Dictionary and you're basically a virgin. Everybody on Urban Dictionary that visits it, except the people that are coming up with those definitions, or I swear they turn everything normal into something abnormal. There is some weird shit on there that I have never heard of before. And I think it might be a lot of people just inventing stuff, but there's things on there that are just really extreme. And I'm not somebody who gets embarrassed by that kind of stuff, but there's just some weird shit out there, So it's just terms that I don't think have anything better to do. Let's just come up with something really demented for this thing you've never done before. Okay. Okay, and just like that, this lad is done. Right? He's got no straps on his helmet, which if you're going to have a strap on a helmet, it would be this tin hat because I can see this thing shifting on you big time. But there's not one there. We're not going to paint it. Okay, he's hanging out here next to 52 genders and company. Okay, he's got to dry because we've got to do the little, we've got to do the, we got to clear coat him. We got to paint his base. Let's start working on the next guy. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a problem. Now I don't like this guy's helmet. Now I don't like this guy's helmet because it's too dark. Oh well, I'll just have to deal with it. I'll just have to deal with him. All right, who are we gonna do next? Oh, and by the way, this guy is this. Actually, this is something I need. Ooh, what happened here? Somebody got hungry. Let's you can use this up to this. Then from this to this is no good. And this is painted a long time ago because I don't use this. This is the base color green that I used to paint all of my stands. It's probably something similar to Goblin Green, but it wasn't Goblin Green. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and let's sand these little furries off. Not that kind of furry. That doesn't exist in my world. We went to a fair, like a local, city fair last weekend for a little bit. And speaking of furries, and my daughter points them out, and they're a little just it's probably harmless, but that's how it starts. These kids that were like 10 years old, and they were wearing some kind of a mask where you couldn't see their face, and they had these little tails or whatever, and they were like half human, half whatever. And I'm sure it was done without any bad intent, but yeah, that shit's weird, man. I swear that stuff didn't exist when I was a kid. Maybe it was because you got your ass beat. Like, hey, I want to be a fox. No, you can't be a freaking fox. Get back in line. Problems we didn't have problems we didn't hear about in the 1980s. Okay, let's go. English uniform is, where is she? Right here. The PSC 25-pounder Beetleback quad set has early war and late war crews. The CMP version has desert and late war crews. CMP has desert, okay. Has early war and late war crews. They used to become mascots, that's true. I got the Beetleback one. So did I not get a desert crew? Do they have shorts? I'll still paint them in desert drill. They don't have to have shorts. I like the Beetleback. I actually both of the vehicles are attractive, but I like the Morris tractor. He's cute. It's very, very cute. And sorry, cute doesn't win wars, but it does make me want to paint them. All right, so since we have our 25-pounder expert, sorry, I'm only an expert on Panzer threes. You end up being an expert on things that you look up a lot. and I haven't looked up anything on the 25 pounder. That set comes with different muzzle brakes. If I want, I should be using one that does not have a muzzle brake, correct? I did a cursory glance at some photographs, and it doesn't seem, I like how it looks like with a muzzle brake. But if they didn't use it in North Africa, if it was a late war thing, then I shouldn't be putting it on there. I should not use a muzzle brake on mine, correct? And I wanted to pick something, up through Operation Crusader, ideally. Beetleback, I've never heard that before. Oh, Marcus, another question. Do you have the South Africans? Do you have the Strelet South Africans? I think the South Africans are guys that were at that airfield, which is like the hardest thing to find pictures of. The hardest thing I've ever been able to find that I've looked for, that I've tried to find pictures of, is that freaking Sidi Rezay airfield. And maybe there aren't any. But I'm starting to think that's just a pile of dirt, an area of dirt that was just kind of level. That was done. There was no, I mean, obviously there wasn't the tarmac, but I'm gonna go to town with this thing. And I'm pretty sure I can make that thing. I could put the base separate, so I could make it in a mounted form at any moment, or leave it unmounted. Because a lot of the Plastic Soldier Company, it goes together and you almost don't have to glue it. Like the fit on it's really tight. I don't know how many names I can get out of here, but I might as well knock this out. Okay, now I can see if all the paint has been gotten off. I guess if you can't tell if the brush is clean, it's probably time to change the water. And then we will hang this thing vertically. Oh, it's like Ask Jeeves. You don't. I wanted to purchase Australian, South Africans, and Indians, but Michigan toy soldiers stopped carrying. I also wanted the Moroccan Boubier. So many good sets. Australia, I'm sure the war has affected them getting stuff out, I would imagine. I didn't realize the South Africans wore those pith helmet things. Maybe not anybody. I mean, I think everybody, Commonwealth, had the tin hats as a backup plan. So these tin hat wearing dudes can go in any direction, All right, so who are we going to do next? What's nice is all of these figures have a minimum amount of kit. Generally, they only have like a water bottle and that's it. Which is nice because, you can move on to the next figure. What's this Aussie doing over there? Get your ass over here. They don't like Vegemite. Okay, this guy's got. I thought there was only one guy that had the tin hat on his side. We'll do this. We'll do this guy. Oh, this guy's got it on his back. And he's balanced on one foot, but he's pretty stable. He's pretty stable. Yeah, we'll do this guy right here. What do I need? I need some water. Agua. Am I holding off on the Bren gun? Yeah. Yeah, I got to figure out what's going on with the barrel. I got to figure out if the barrel needs to be that stainless color on all of them. I hope not, but I'll paint it if it has to be. I haven't looked into that yet. And I love the Bren. I mean, Bren gun is a really attractive weapon. Yeah, I can hold off on the Thompsons. A lot of the scenarios don't have the squad leader having a Thompson. They have them with an Enfield as well. Muzzle brake was 1942 onwards. Okay, so if I'm doing earlier than 41, I'm not going to paint it silver, huh? Okay, there you go. I knew an expert would chime in. All right, I'll be right back. Oh, the muzzle. Oh, the muzzle brake on the. Okay, the muzzle brake on the 25 pounder. Okay, was 42 onwards. I'm gonna do mine. I'm gonna do mine without then. It looks better with it, but all right. We've been doing different colors of shorts. I'm gonna go ahead and do this guy with light colored shorts, which I don't have any of them yet. They all did the khaki base. Will you? Yeah, that shouldn't drip down. All right, let's put a little bit of black, a little bit of white, and the sand color. One of the sand colors, dark sand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 6. Yeah, I did a cursory look for what was going on with the Bren barrel, and I couldn't. You know, some things you just don't expect them to be that difficult to find out. I'm like, I wasn't ready to do a deep dive, and I didn't find any information as quickly as I thought I would have. Time to paint some Australian culottes. Culottes. That's French for you ain't gonna get laid in them shorts. Shorts. I'd never heard of that name before till I went to a private school and the girls had to wear those. Yeah, definitely, definitely clothing that was designed by a nun. I ain't got none, and you ain't gonna get none either. None for you. And I might be able to paint quicker if I was paying multiple people at a time, but I'd get burned out quicker. I definitely would get burned out quicker. Like, I'm not burned out at all. Like, how many more of these guys we need to do? 40? We're good. I just want to do them one at a time. I don't want to be like, you know, pants, 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 shirt, 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 shirt. Like, that's just like, writing sentences. Like, why am I being tortured for this hobby? This isn't being tortured. This is an adventure. It was a way brewing more coffee. Did I miss any further discussion on the Bren gun? No. I should do some research on that as well. Might need to do some repainting. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think that anybody's going to call you out on it. I think it looks better not being silver. I don't understand what the thing is. What's really weird is the barrel goes, there's a point on the barrel where it actually comes down and attaches with a screw, and all that is all silver. So it's not just the barrel end, but there's like a bracket that goes at the end. So you've got the barrel, and then it comes down, and then let me see if I got something on it. Now that I think about it, it'll also give me a chance to look at books I haven't looked at in 25 years, or maybe even longer. That are probably on a print. This one probably is not. Let's see. Where am I going to find that one? That one. This is all pre-internet stuff where you found something that had like photos. You're like, oh, I got to get a hold of this because if I ever need to paint this, here's full color photos of this stuff. Ooh, I'm going to pull this thing out too because I like this book. This is a book all you guys have already seen, I'm sure. It's gone over the world over. But the other one is Waffen SS. Okay, Wehrmacht color camouflage uniforms. Nope. Waffen SS uniforms and color photographs. Nope. Even though I've never paid an SS guy, I've got the uniform for him. Red Army uniforms of World War II. Nope. I got one that's the World War II infantry in color photographs. That's the one. That's the one. That's the bloody one. Europa Militaria #2. I use touches of natural steel on infantry weapons anyways, just to make them pop a little bit more. Yep, me too. Yeah, I can't. I've seen other people do the black layered tones, and it doesn't look right to me. I mean, I like it, but I kind of don't like it. Let's see if we got some guy with a Bren gun. Yeah, you see how this British uniform infantryman in Normandy is? Look at his shirt. His shirt and his pants. They're technically both, I don't know if you can see it in this photo. Maybe it's better without this. It is. Okay, his shirt and his pants, especially in the left-hand picture, they're the same material, but they don't look the same color. And that's kind of what I like to do. You know, they're going to fade differently. So, I've never seen a Panzerfaust that's not painted Dunkelgelb. You know? Looks weird. All my Panzerfaust will be Dunkelgelb. Okay, here's the Bren gun, and you can make it out. What is this? Sicily, July 1943. The barrel is a different color. Or it's not blued. That's what I should say. It's not blued. See if it talks about it here. Where's the Bren gun? 8. Bren Mark 1 light machine gun, 303-inch caliber. It was the main infantry section's firepower, and each 10-man section consisted of a 2-man Bren group led by a lance corporal deputy section leader. And 6, well, that's somebody you call out to. Lance corporal, deputy section leader. And 6 riflemen led by the corporal section leader. Well, that's interesting. The assistant squad leader is the one that runs the Bren. And the squad leader runs the rest of the squad. I mean, in practice, extremely accurate at normal battle ranges, the Bren was a popular weapon. 30-round curved box magazine were carried. In the universal pouches, the Bren number 1 carried 4, his number 2, 4, and the lance corporal 4. Each rifleman also carried 2 magazines, and these could be passed to the Bren group as needed. Yeah, all these guys have it in those big pouches. So, doesn't say anything about the weapon being 2 different colors. Italian infantry, Western Desert. We'll get there. Yeah, this guy. I'm not going to paint him like this. His shirt and his webbing, and nothing pops on it. It's all the same thing. Like, you need some contrast in there with the webbing. I always paint the Bren gun gunmetal. Then, depending on the version, I pop a little bit of silver on the barrel connector or the barrel connector and flash suppressor muzzle, depending on the version. Oh, now we got to see which Bren gun version it is. I don't know. Maybe I'll just paint all mine silver, just to be different. I don't really like the way it looks, but it at least grabs some, at least makes it, I don't know, makes it unique. Now, this is the book that I say everybody has, or you've at least looked through it. And these are colorized photographs, or at least I think that they are. And there's probably all kinds of different versions of this particular thing on here. I love this book. I remember as a kid seeing this, and I'm like, oh man, this just about every guy in here looks good. There's a couple of guys in here that are deluxe dorks, okay, but just about everybody else is, and they're photographs that have been colorized, So let's see what we got here for the Western Desert. Great Britain 95. Interesting smell. It smells a little like roach spray. That's funny because I don't have any. They didn't use these roach spray to put these things together, did they? Guys in the desert? What the hell, man? What? Yeah, these Italian tankers have stupid looking helmets, don't they? I think the Australians and stuff are back here at the other allied countries. The Danish guy. He's like a sad bulldog. Well, he only had to endure that for 6 hours. Oh, look, the Evazones still, they lose their Pompey uniform, but they still have the little pom poms on their shoes. Okay, I'm pretty sure Australia's back here in the back. Yeah, a couple of Australian dudes. I don't know why I'm looking. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to find anything of value at this point. Oh, I didn't know they had any Chinese commies. Yeah, you could probably use earlier period Chinese troops to represent these guys. I haven't watched that 800 movie. Have you seen that 800 movie? It just seems like that's going to be some severe Chinese propaganda. Slovak Army, French colonial. Hungarians. Gurkhas. Oh, here it is with his New Zealand with the lemon squeezer hat. Yeah, they're like Mounties. Stop, or I'll say stop again. Here he is, Australian. Nothing unique to them. There's like a rough surface on there. Useless. That's one of those I should go like, okay, just get rid of this book. You're never going to use it for anything, but I got stuff that I've had a long time that I got that book, and I got the modern book of it as well. There's a modern equivalent of the uniforms that's the same way. It's like these photographs that are colorized. All right. How long has this guy been painted? A little bit. All right, let's go ahead and give him the clear coat. We want that to dry well before we start manhandling it. I probably need to designate a new brush, just the one to use for that, because I don't want any vestiges of paint to get into the clear coat. Like if I use this one, I should be able to practice on this white background and make sure there's no other color that gets deposited on there. Yeah, like this is, none of that's coming off. So let's go ahead and paint this lad. That's working really well. I'm super happy with that. I'll tell you what, we'll do the Bren gun after this guy. The next guy we'll do after him will have a Bren gunner. And it won't be the guy laying down. It'll be this guy giving him a what for. Hard to suppress a target with 30 rounds, but better than the BAR. It's only 20 rounds. Keeps you from having to bring a spare barrel. Like I think with a BAR, you don't have to worry about changing barrels. I don't know that you can change a barrel on a BAR. But with only 20 rounds before you have to do a reload, that's going to keep it from overheating. That's the thing about Plastic Soldier Company I really don't like is you get so much extra stuff, you feel bad about getting rid of it. So then it's creating a lot of baggage for me. As some kits are horrible on that. The some stuff like the Sherman set that I have, not a lot. There's not a lot of extra stuff on it. Some stuff like the Stewart set has a lot of extra stuff, and the Martyr set is extreme. The Martyr set is really extreme. Either I get a lot of Czech 38 stuff if you use the Martyrs, or if you damn near build a whole freaking Martyr if you get the other one. I just don't have the heart to get rid of it. SDKFZ 263 rec as you speak. Yeah, that's that's asking for a scenario. Like go out and get the map case. You know, Marcus, did you have any of those Stomper tanks as a kid? You know what I'm talking about, right? Those Stomper vehicles are powered by one AA battery, and they made tanks for them. For a Martyr set, I didn't glue the tops so I could change them up. Ah. Now you tell me. Didn't glue the tops. Well, they got to be gray Martyrs then. Or, they've got to be Czech 38s for the 22nd Panzer Division that used them in Dunkelgelb. That looks really weird. Or a sand. Not, they didn't use them in Dunkelgelb. It was a sandy color. It was damn near the same thing. Just like this isn't Dunkelgelb. Like it's an insult. Don't be such a Dunkelgelb. You didn't have the tanks? Those were cool. They're also going for they're trying to sell them for a fortune on eBay. I had a couple of Tiger ones and a SDKFZ 250/9, an M60, Centurion. I never had the Russian tank, which I guess was a T-62. I don't know why they didn't make a Sherman. They should have. Had the same running gear on all of them. Well, the half track didn't have the same running gear, but had working little headlights. We had toys growing up that encourage you to play in the dirt. And I did have that set. There's a play set that was like a bridge, and it was a bridge that was probably, I don't know, about this long. It was two pieces. It just came up and it came back down, and it came with, I think, a couple of tanks, and some boxes and stuff like that. Army men that were, I think, based on the Airfix U.S. infantry figures. One guy that's got his hand up in the. I didn't realize that at the time, but I looked at those figures and I'm like, oh, these are like the prototype for a lot of other Army sets, or at least the inspiration for the poses. But the figures were big, were bigger than they should have been. They were like maybe 1/48 scale, something like that. Okay, Digga Pants done. And then we'll use khaki as the base for the shirt. Khaki. Enjoy watching Jerry on Toy Soldier Nostalgia. He's big into collecting mainly Airfix 70s figures nostalgia overload. Where's my notepad? This will have to do. I finally got a chance to watch. I hadn't watched by the guy that does the diecast racing in a long time, and now he does monster trucks and stuff. That is so freaking entertaining. I love that. Jerry on Toy Soldier Nostalgia. Toy Soldier Nostalgia. I always wanted that Guns and Averone set. Now, of course, it's stupid now, but when you're a kid, you're like, wow, yellow freaking guns and shit like that. Lemon yellow guns. We went to Jacksonville. We go to a big city to have this toy store that was called Lionel's Play World. Their logo, I think, was a kangaroo or something like that. And that place was like freaking huge. And they had that all the way on the top shelf, the guns in our own place. And you're like, wow, that was, it probably came with like a play mat that was like vinyl or some shit. It's just garbage when you're a kid. Like, it was like, I don't know, like $70 or something like that. You're like, what? Which is, might as well be $2,000 by today's standards. When you're like, when you're a kid, $70 is like untouchable. Like, you'll never come across $70 your entire life ever. A 10-year-old kid never going to come across $70. Not in the 70s. It's like, never going to see that again. That was back when you had toy stores, and sometimes they'd have like a loose toy you got to play with. You know, it, I remember these big Godzillas. You play around with them. The machine gun that I don't. They probably didn't have these in the UK, but when I grew up, there's toy guns everywhere, and we didn't kill anybody in real life. It was just freaking toy guns, and it had like this M16 type thing, all green. And I remember this was like a classic toy from the early 1980s, and it had this. You could charge the thing back, and when you pulled the trigger, the barrel of it would vibrate, and it would be so loud, like and they always had that at every toy store. You can play around with it. And nobody killed. There was no school shootings. It didn't exist back then. I guess everybody knew who your dad was, and you were raised better. Didn't happen. All right, khaki shirt. Toy soldier nostalgia. I remember always going. I don't know where they had them, but I saw the Britain's figures, and they were untouchable. Like they were, I couldn't get them. They were too expensive. But I totally appreciate the nostalgia thing because there's stuff you remember as a kid fondly. And, you'd look at them now, and you're like, this really was not very good. But as a kid, it's like fascinating. And there was a toy store in the mall. That's where I would get all my models. I want to say it was called KB Toys. Might have been something different. That's where I picked up all my MPC ships, the Ark Royal and the Bismarck and the Prinz Eugen and the Repulse, and there was no Airfix in the United States, or at least in my area, there was no Airfix. It wasn't branded as Airfix. It was still the same mold under license. And there was no waterline ships either. I would have loved for them to be waterline. I don't want to build this whole red bullshit. I'm just interested in the waterline version. Nope, no such thing. Not until much later they started coming out. Suffolk, Ajax, right? Ajax, Suffolk, Ark Royal. I don't think I had the Ajax. I had the Suffolk. I had the Ark Royal. I had the Repulse. God, the Repulse is a beautiful ship. I didn't find out until last year that those rat bastards ended up like raiding the freaking stuff on those the two Force Z ships. Like they ended up like raiding all the propellers and stuff on there. Like that's not cool. Not cool. I used to get either an Airfix FN rifle or a Tommy gun for Christmas. They came in hard black plastic with a magazine of 6 or 8 polyethylene bullets, mostly used cap guns when playing. And you didn't kill anybody either. FN, like an FAL? Oh, I would have loved to have had a plastic FAL. That's a beautiful gun. Or as somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about, narrating a book would say, a foul. What do you guys call them? You call them SLRs, right? Self-loading rifle. Chambered in 30-03. Right? No. What's the English what's the English chambering of the FAL? Is it? It's not the same round as the Enfield, is it? Well, I don't know. I don't know what the inch pattern. I don't know what the inch pattern on the FAL is. Because that's a significantly different round than a 7.6251. Uh oh. Ah, okay. Let's see what you sent me here. Mark II. Well, this one doesn't have the stainless steel barrel. The non-blued barrel. I'm sure it's the same material as everything else. It's a non-blued barrel. Well, according to this you sent me on the Bren, this chambered in 303 British and 7.6251. I wonder if that means that's the... Man, I swear those two rounds are significantly different. 303 British versus 7.62 NATO. I want to see the two rounds side by side. Six versus... Doesn't... Man, they should be right next to each other. I don't care about the 280 British. Yeah, the NATO round's a lot fatter. It's got more taper. Yeah, because in the Falklands, didn't the British use the 303 and the RGs used the NATO round? I think they both used FALs. You had a Hornby clockwork train set and then got your cousin's electric train set. I could have been lost to model railways but fell into wargaming. Yeah, my dad was really big into train sets. I had a Lionel 3 rail. My dad had a bunch of HO scale stuff. and he gave me a Lionel, the three rail one. I didn't like it because it was three rail, and I also what I really didn't like it is you go to any store and they never had Lionel stuff. They always had, you know, HO scale, even N scale stuff. They didn't have, and I had it. I had a fair amount of track, and it got lost. It got lost on one of our moves in the early '80s, and yeah, and that's that. And never found out what happened to it. I have a feeling it probably got left in an attic, and we moved from the house and didn't check the attic or something. It's kind of hard to miss a whole fucking play set, train set, especially when it's like friggin' big. I wonder what kind of oddities we're gonna find out on this guy's last name when we pick it out. God, my stomach is just having a concert. I guess it doesn't like black coffee this early in the morning. They got a they got a channel on YouTube that I saw many years ago. I imagine it's still on. I'm sure there's lots of people that have channels about these people that play airsoft. And there was this one particular one where they had like these two. They were split in two different teams, and each team was led by somebody that was ex-military, and there were these kids that were 18 and younger, somewhere between say 15 to maybe early 20s, and it was like they'd go out to this. I don't know. I don't even know where it was. It was somewhere in the United States, although they do it all over the world. Actually, there was one that I saw. They were fighting over some unused factory in Eastern Europe somewhere, and I'm like, that is freaking awesome. And they're all geared up in kit and stuff like that. But just from my experience, just from what I have heard from Mitch's son, who's really big into paintball, which I never, I don't understand the appeal of that. They don't look like real weapons to begin with, and they don't sound like real weapons. Um, that'd be fun to do if you could like use Miles gear, right? I mean, we don't really want to shoot at other people, but you know, it would be nice to go around and scare the living crap out of somebody by unloading a full magazine in somebody and they're not expecting it. But anyhow, just sound wise, But apparently, according to him, in paintball, there's a shitload of cheating. Like people, oh, I didn't get hit, wiping off stuff, and like, yeah, that would not be good for, that would not be good for someone like me. I don't want to play a game where cheating isn't frowned upon, or people get away with it, or everybody's doing it all the time. I'm like, why am I here again? But there's some cool videos where people were like doing like scenarios and stuff like that. But those airsoft guns, because it costs as much as real guns, you might as well buy real guns. You know, I mean, we can do that here. I mean, obviously, the ammo's probably a lot cheaper for airsoft, but you got some airsoft arenas that are pretty impressive. There's one in Miami that's like it's enclosed and it's got freaking cars in it and all kinds of shit. But you'd have to have a better system that would be like people wouldn't be able to cheat. The fact that there would be any cheating at all, I would be like, I'm not interested in that. I don't want to play with a bunch of cheaters. I don't want to play war games with a bunch of cheaters. But good airsoft pistols could be had for a couple $100. Hell, that's a real gun. Same thing with BB guns. If you buy some BB gun to serve some kind of pest control you want to deal with, maybe you got a rodents or something like that are destroying your yard, and you're like, man, I've tried everything with these things. Let's take them out. It's like buying a real gun. So you guys that live in societies where firearms aren't allowed by normal folks, right? At least legally. You guys must be really freaked out when you go to a place like an airport and there's a guard with that's all decked out with like submachine guns and stuff like that. Because even I'm like I'm not like I don't get freaked out by firearms and stuff. I don't want everybody on the street carrying one because a lot of people aren't safe with them, and there's no need. But you go to an airport and there'll be guys with fully decked with who flew into where was it Houston or something like that, and they had a couple guys in there that were decked out. They were ready to go. They were all rainbow sixed out, and yeah, you guys must really mess with your guys' heads. Because I remember when I went to college, which man, it wasn't that long ago. I mean, it was, but in your mind, like 1991 is not a long time ago. Like I remember everything from 1991, and there was people that had guns and gun racks in their trucks that you could see from the outside, and nobody would mess with them. I mean, like, why would you mess with somebody's guns? But we didn't freak out. And that wasn't that long ago. And now it's like you can't have that, or which I'm fine with. Not having them out in the open. But they're just more demented people now. I mean, I remember. I want to say it was the Boy Scouts. I did 2 tours in the Boy Scouts, and I remember going to this camp. I'm pretty sure it was the camp that went to in North Georgia. And there was this shooting range. And I was like 13 or 14 years old. and there was this shooting range, and everybody got a. I mean, I wish we could have gotten to do more of this because it's pretty cool. I never got to do this with my dad, but they they would give everybody a 22 rifle. They wouldn't just like here have fun with it. I mean, there was some discipline involved in it, but they had 10, 12 different kids, each with a 22 rifle, bolt action. And they gave you everybody a little wedge. It was a little wedge of it looked like a little cheese wedge, reminded me, but it was wood, and it was drilled out where you'd have your 5 rounds of 22 millimeter. 22 millimeter? No, that would kick a lot. A 22 millimeter would kick a lot. 22 caliber rounds. They would give. It was probably about this. It was like about the size of this, except it was round, and they had drilled it out, and they gave you a little ammo, and you'd go down and you'd lay down on the ground when it was time to, on an old mattress on a cement. It was a cement overhang basically, and your targets were out there, and you did that, and it wasn't a big deal. Like it didn't occur to anybody to use that against anybody else there. It's just different times. Like, and you can't do stuff like that now. There's too many crazy people. There's too many. The crazy people have taken over. No, yeah, okay, I understand why you can't talk about it. Your government is listening. But I mean, what happened? What happened? I think it's super empowering to be able to kill somebody and not kill somebody. Like it's responsibility. With freedom comes responsibility. Like, be responsible. You don't have people like driving people off the road or crashing into people. Like, use your brain, man. Problems that we didn't have, and that was the other day. I mean, it wasn't, but maybe I just live in a different world. Well, I'm not really liking what's happening with this English uniform. It's soaking up into this wood, something fierce that I've never seen it happen with any other color. I didn't think I needed to seal this wood just to put the base color on there, but I guess, well, let's give this thing another coat. Has this country changed that much since I was 20? Maybe. I also don't live in the inner city. You know, I'm a suburbia person. South suburbia, suburbia in the south. Although where Marcus is from is probably further south than where I'm at. I guarantee that. I guarantee. All right, I need to go use a little boy's room, and we'll be right back in a jiff. Indeed, you grew up in Dukes of Hazzard-like country, hillbilly mountains. And nobody shot them. Nobody shot each other back then. I mean, you got criminal types that are always going to be, they got nothing to lose. They're always going to do, stuff that nobody else does. I'm just talking about normal people. I mean, you lived in a small town, you'd probably carry a rifle and nobody would say anything. I mean, I'm not advocating you should do that. I'm just saying that, just didn't have those problems. Just didn't have those problems. But you had fathers that were around, and they told you you don't do this. This is how you behave. You don't need laws to say you don't go in there and misbehave. You just didn't misbehave. When you're 8 years old, it's one thing. But I'm just saying, as a young adult, it just didn't happen. How the hell did this guy get freaking British uniform on his ass? I hope that's British uniform. Maybe he had one curry too many. That supposedly affects you guys. I've always heard that 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 effect. That's kind of like Britain's Taco Bell is turkey is curries. I've never had a bad curry experience. Um, an unfortunate curry experience. Oh, sorry about that. The curry slurry. I agree with everything you're saying. We all had guns. Yeah. What happened? What happened? I mean, it was the other day. 1990 was the other day. I mean, it wasn't. It was what 40 years ago or whatever. But I'm just saying that I remember it like it was yesterday. Not that much has changed physically, but I guess mentally, people are just society is just different, and it's not better different. You know. Delhi belly is a very serious topic. Oh no, here we go again. Yesterday's tongue heart was bottom of the barrel. I love potty humor because it happens to everybody. It's something that, I would call it a design flaw on so many levels. But that's just how the human body was designed to. Design flaw. That would be hair. That would be hair on women's armpits. That's a design flaw. Sorry, I'm taking that to the top. That's like shouldn't be. No hairy armpit on ladies for me. Thank you. You can have all that. But I mean, what the hell happened? It is. I'm not buying its violent video games. I've played violent video games my entire life. I have killed multiple universes full of Nazis my entire life. So I don't play those games anymore. I'm like, how many times I'm going to rid the world of the crooked spider people? Like, I'm done. You guys keep bringing them back. Like, we've buried them who knows how many times. Demons, same things. You keep regurgitating the demons. Like, I need a break, man. Keep bringing this bad folks up. And as a kid, I didn't want to play with real guns. I wanted to play with these. Real guns aren't fun. They're just a tool. You know? Like the old Red Fox joke. God put a smell in the fart so the deaf could enjoy it, but he fucked up on the I have a feeling that I didn't really watch that show when I was a kid, but I bet if you watch that show now, and I'm talking about Sanford and Son. Well, it would make some people wouldn't be able to watch that show. I would not be one of those people that wouldn't be able to watch that show. I would be more like, man, people would lose their freaking mind if they saw this because everybody's all of a sudden is so tender. Everybody's they're so tender about everything, you know. And the world was a better place when we just picked on each other and no harm was intended. I bet that'd probably be a funny show. If you could find it. It was on reruns for a long time. But I'm pretty sure they use terminology it's frowned upon now. But it doesn't bother me. Just don't use that terminology. You know, just you know how to behave. All right, gotta go. Just sent you a picture of your work in progress. I'm gonna go make the wreck part of a desert outpost. I'll string a tarp between the barrels and radio antenna. Ooh, I'll check that out. Oh, speaking of check that out, I need to go check. I need to check this out because I keep thinking about it and keep forgetting it. Airfix makes a control tower, don't they, for the RAF control tower? Oh, I guess I'll look at this now. Oh, that's excellent. That's excellent. You make the what'd you make the sandbags out of? Chiclets or something? No, it looks like something that's pre-made. Yeah, no, that's totally useful. Hmm. Airfix, don't they make a Airfix airfield? Airfield control tower. They want how much for that thing? Holy shit. Okay, so City Rosé airfield. It's so hard to find freaking stuff on this. Warfare History Network. By the end of the second day, visibility was reduced to almost zero. That's perfect for my scale game. Burning hulks of everything from ME 109s to M3 Honey tanks, Panzer 3Hs, and trucks of all descriptions littered the battleground that was once an airfield. The desert floor had been pulverized into a dust that just hung in the air, further reducing visibility. It was a scene out of Dante's Inferno, and yet thousands of men and vehicles continued to be drawn to the stretch of the North African desert like moths to a flame. Oh, you want me to subscribe to read the next article? That shit doesn't work on me. That shit doesn't work on me. Yeah, I've always been fascinated about this, just like the point blank range and okay, this is what it is. This is the game I was talking about. Forgotten Hope, and it's some kind of a mod. then they have a series map. It's got to be a mod for what game is this a mod for? Battlefield 2 is a modification for Dice's Battlefield 2, which I never played. Released in 2007, the sequel 2003 modification Forgotten Hope, Battlefield 1942, which I also never played. Okay, I gotta see if there's a video. I bet somebody has a YouTube video of like maybe describing the battlefield, where I can get some snapshots and some ideas for that, because that's definitely on my to-do list. Is to do something like that. Just because you got, I mean, hell, that table out there is shaped like an airfield, and it's just a landing strip, really. I call it airfield, but it's really a landing strip. Pre-made sandbags from an Italeri kit. They've been uploading a lot of clips to YouTube now. Oh, of a Sanford and Son. Yeah, pre-made sandbags. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't want to make those myself. That would take a while. Although you could probably, if you made a decent mold out of some, and then pull them out of the mold early and then manipulate them, you know. Like if I ever get around to getting the baggage for this, I'm gonna buy a commercially made baggage for the M10, and then just make a mold out of it and pull it out of the mold early and manipulate the sandbag so they don't all look exactly neatly the same. Well, they're not neatly the same because they're a mess, but in that mess format on every one of these vehicles, because I could stand to probably have four of these, you know, a troop of them, as you lads would say. Forgotten Hope 2, yeah. I don't want to play the game. All those games are the same. You're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. You got people that don't know anything about World War II playing a World War II game. Get out of here, kid. Go mow the lawn. names at. Okay, we need Harrison. And this other guy is going to be what's this guy look like? I'm gonna make him a Sloan. Where's the Harrison? Here's Harrison. This side's smoother. We'll have a little bit of wastage between them, but we can adjust to make sure it looks pretty vertical. Right. Yeah. All right. Yes, this vertical drawing is working really well. Just maybe try to keep these brushes from looking so misshapen sometimes. Not the little brushes, but the bigger ones. The ones we're a little bit less careful with. Okay, so after the shirt and the bottoms are done, it's Enfield time. Although I probably need to goop this guy. Gupta. We'll do the Enfield here. We can do the gooping off camera like I did yesterday. And then I'm probably going to stop. I'm going to stop for this morning after we do the Enfield. Six, you know. No, that's halfway through a squad. I really would like to paint all these guys before I switch from them. So we'll see if that's actually comes to pass. If I run a game next weekend, I don't think it'll be the desert. I want to do it right. I don't want some tiny little force. Okay, folks, this is where we're going to stop for this morning, and we will probably, I would imagine, probably be back on